Uh, September 8th, the Garland County Quorum Court's Public Health, Welfare, and Safety Committee meeting order, and I would like to ask Justice Young to lead us in an invocation.
Thank you, Justice Myers. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to gather together and debate and sign up and speak our hearts, our minds, our consciences with events and things that affect our city, our town, our state, and our nation. Father, I just pray you be with us tonight, and we hope to honor you and to be a blessing to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. If you'd rise to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a quorum present on committee. I think everybody's here. As everybody knows, I think everybody here in attendance knows what the one item on our agenda is for tonight, and that's a consideration of resolution having to do with Charlie Kirk and his passing. I'm going to turn this over for a little while to my fellow Justice of the Peace, my colleague Justice Alan Floyd. He's the sponsor of this resolution, and he's got some explaining some different things that he'd like to bring to everyone's attention before we get into discussion and public comment.
Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. So, Charlie Kirk. How many people saw that fatal wound that took Charlie Kirk from us? There's over 3,000 people in attendance for his event, and everybody had their cameras on, unfortunately. It's probably the most traumatic thing I've ever witnessed in my entire life. Now, never been in the military. I've never seen death like that. I've worked in a hospital, and I've seen death in hospitals, but it wasn't like this. So, Charlie Kirk was 31 years old. He was married with 2 young children. His children will never have the chance to hug their dad again, to make memories with him. Won't have the chance of their dad telling them it's going to be okay. Who here has been affected by what happened on September 10th? Charlie Kirk left a lasting mark on this nation. He stood firmly for our right for free speech and made it his mission to bring open dialogue to college campuses across America. By doing so, he gave students the opportunity to hear all sides of an argument and to challenge ideas through civil debate rather than silence or intimidation. We live in a time when holding an opposing view can make someone a target, but we cannot and will not live in fear. The strength of our nation has always come from our ability to disagree without destroying one another and to protect the right of every citizen to speak freely. I've heard a statement that Charlie Kirk doesn't belong in our county because he wasn't from here. I will say you are wrong. We all knew him whether we ever saw him in person or not. Charlie turned young men and women into leaders all around the world. People here today have learned how to be a leader because of Charlie Kirk. How many people here have you led to be a leader? I can't think of one for myself. I have a 14-year-old son and a 10-year-old daughter that I'm working hard on, so I hope that number is at least 2 by the time they get to be adult age. Okay. So the following Sunday after he passed, the churches were overflowed. That was the kind of leader Charlie Kirk was. This resolution serves as a reminder that within these chambers, we will live out those very principles. We will welcome debate on all sides. We will listen even when we disagree. And above all, we will remain respectful, knowing that it is only through open discussion that truth, understanding, and progress are possible. Charlie Kirk had the same energy as our founding fathers, and he put God first. This is why he was so effective. October 14th is Charlie Kirk's birthday. And actually, the Senate just passed a similar bill last Friday recognizing October 14th as a remembrance for Charlie Kirk. So we're in line with the same sentiment as our nation. Who here has prayed since the tragedy? Prayed for the Kirk family, pray for your family. Thank God that you had your spouse is still here, that you have children. September 10th was a dark day, but even in darkness, such an event produced light. So let's let his light shine. Let's let let's make heaven crowded, as he used to say. So I also want to revisit the name change for this room. Actually, the room doesn't have a name, but there's been a lot of discussion. And I'd love to hear the discussion on the panel of what we should do to honor the memory of Charlie Kirk, the spirit of Charlie Kirk. I've had conversations with some of my constituents, and I said I want this panel to be open and discuss what we want to do. And the thing is, I've had a lot of discussions, and what do we have in measures that's going to honor certain people? Like, do we need a wall with plaques honoring people when these things happen? And so I like to send it over to whoever else has any concerns or any ideas for this. And I'll pray on amending the name change. I want to hear your thoughts.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I have extensive comments to make. I would rather make them now than possibly now than address someone that's speaking. Charlie Kirk was a figure that has affected millions and billions of young people in America and will have an effect on them, a positive effect going forward. I've heard, we've all seen everything everybody in the media said, whether it was right, left, or whatever. Both sides have said some terrible things about each other and so forth. And I don't justify any terrible things that have been said. I know that one group of people or a lot of people are lying outright, saying this was a violent man, this was a divisive man. That's really not true. I'd like to read a few quotes here from some leaders that might not have possibly been expected to feel the way they did. Joe Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania, described Kirk as devoted to speech and debate, emphasizing that communities around the country need more of that approach. He viewed Kirk as someone who promoted open debate without resorting to violence. Statement made NBC Meet the Press. Dean Withers, liberal debater known as the Democrat Bro Whisperer. I didn't give him that name, the New York Times did. Bro Whisperer. By the New York Times, frequently debated Kirk open as an opponent. He publicly mourned Kirk's death through tears, praising his basic rules of civility and efforts to engage with young people in discourse amid societal divisions. Withers expressed sadness over the loss of someone who brought liberals and conservatives into conversation. Brad Callion, CNN political director, praised Kirk for engaging in that fundamental debate that is the heart of our democracy, standing for beliefs and debating opposing views civilly rather than resorting to violence. On-air comment made on CNN Inside Politics. Many years ago, I grew up on Oklahoma, 6/10 of a mile from Scully Street, where the Clintons lived, Hassans lived, and many other families that I grew up around. And Virginia Kelly wrote in her book, Leading with the Heart, a lot about that neighborhood. And I was privileged to know Roger and Bill and Virginia through a household up the street that Virginia, my kids were kind of latchkey kids. If it wasn't for the Astons, who was an Italian immigrant who cooked all the time, and her husband, who was a Syrian chef who cooked all the time, I would be uncomfortable sometimes about my boys if I was doing a long shift at the hospital. But I knew that they could go up there. I stayed in that household a lot. I watched Bill Clinton play Monopoly on the floor when he was 16, 18, 19 years old, and I was 10 or 12 or 14. Virginia wrote in her book about her son, Bill. She said his early personality and his tendency to engage deeply in conversations to persuade others. She portrays him as someone who would linger in discussions, often being the last to leave until he had fully made his case and swayed the other person, highlighting his natural gift for empathy, and argumentation that later defined his political career. Bill Clinton wrote on X at the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He took to X and Facebook, shared it to Facebook, and he expressed sorrow, urging national reflection on political discourse. His full comment posted on the September 25th, 10th, 25th reads, "I am saddened and angered by Charlie Kirk's murder, Bill Clinton, and I hope we all go through some serious introspection and redouble our efforts to engage in debate passionately yet peacefully. Hillary and I are keeping Erica and their 2 young children and their family in our prayers." Hillary Clinton shared uh, Bill's post to her social media after he posted it. Let me go right back here and get just a couple of more things. I won't be much longer. And that's not it. I believe I'll end with that. But this young man is not someone who I followed extensively. I had listened to him many times through the years and just on news reports and so forth and panels and so forth. He never was bombastic. He always was kind to the people he debated, whether it was on a campus. I've watched those videos. I've looked and searched. I searched for these people and praises that had been given to him, maybe from a group of people that I wouldn't have expected those accolades. He, in anything I've seen or read or heard, he has no police report. He's never been arrested. He's never caused disturbances. He was a man of peace. He was a man that has had a great effect and will have a great effect on many, many young people in America. I appreciate you for letting me speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Young. Justice Anderson.
Okay. Unlike Justice Young, actually, I'd never heard of Charlie until after this incident. I'm sure he was a good man. I'm sure what he did he thought was great. But then when I think back and we start talking about naming a building after him, he had no connections with Arkansas, none with Pop Springs. I worked with 2 police officers that gave the ultimate sacrifice, Wayne Warwick and Brent Scrivener. And I think that if we were going to do anything, and we've got many other people in Hot Springs and Garland County that we could think of if we wanted to do that. So I'm just not doing something like that. It seems like it's going to be another one of those divisive measures. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Anderson. Any other JPs?
May I respond to that? I thought of that. I got a letter from a lady. If she's here tonight, I'd like to meet her. That said that it's not the place, Quorum, of course, not the place of any government entity to name a building or a city or a street or highway after someone that's had no interaction with that community. I believe that I know, you know, that Dr. Martin Luther King had interaction with this community. And I drive on a expressway that's named Dr. Martin Luther King Expressway every day, proud. And he is one of my heroes. I believe he's one of the greatest people to ever draw breath in America. And I believe Charlie Kirk is in that league of person. I really do. Thank you.
Any other members of the Quorum Court? Justice Brown.
Yes, thank you. First, I want to say, Alan, thank you for bringing this forward. I think it's very admirable, and there are sections that I support, and there are some sections that I can support in other ways. So I'd like to go through those with you. I wholeheartedly support setting aside the day, October 14th, as a day of remembrance for Charlie Kirk. Again, that is in line with what our federal government has done. And in fact, I think you put it out before us before it even passed through the Senate. So thank you for the foresight on that. I believe that there should be a memorial for Kirk, but I think renaming this room or any county building room is misguided and a little ahead of step, because I believe we need to look at some other things before we go down the road of naming. Once we do this, the gates are wide open for the next naming opportunity without there being a guideline in place, a policy procedure as such. Many of my constituents, very conservative Republicans, have stated that they believe that a county building and a county room should be reserved for those either with a direct connection of Garland County or made a difference in Garland County. This should be reserved for that. And I tend to follow the same thought there. I cannot support public funds being used to buy signage. I don't believe that that's the appropriate use of public funds. I wholeheartely believe that there are, in fact, a number of my constituents offering to pay privately for a memorial. So I believe we can get there tonight. I just think we're going to have to go make it a little different. So I just want you to imagine this. One of the things that I saw online was a movement to put benches on college campuses that had a likeness of Charlie Kirk. And the reason for the bench was normally when you have a bench, at least two people will sit on that bench. And that's usually when dialogue starts. Two strangers sitting on a bench, dialogue starts. So I would like for you to think broader than renaming a room, maybe a memorial of some type. Maybe it's right outside the entrance here. That is a bench that reflects the open dialogue of what you're wanting to go through. To do that, I believe we need to look to the state capitol and what the state capitol and the Secretary of State's office has done with having certain policy, procedure, and guidelines about monuments placed on state capitol ground. I think we can look to them for guidance for things like restrictions of height with placement, not to impede, because like I mentioned, once we approve for one, there will be a request for another. And I believe we can walk out of here today with absolutely unanimous support or near unanimous support of a day of remembrance. But I believe the other steps, I believe this was just, the other steps are ahead of themselves. I think we need to do something first, guidelines and things, and well, nothing would make me happier to see a memorial here outside of the building, outside of the room. It's more open to the general public, people 24 hours a day. This room is not open 24 hours a day. They can come. They can, if it's out front lawn, the walkway, they can come sit on the bench and have open and dialogue. I don't think we need to rename a room to be able to mirror Charlie. If it's not in our heart, naming this room, it is not going to make a difference. The difference that we want to make. So you have support if you remove in its entirety whereas 5th and 6th, section 2, and the title after where it begins, and dedicating the Garland County Quorum Court Chambers as a Charlie Kirk debate without hate room. If you'll revise that, then you'll have my 100% support, and I will actually request to be added as a co-sponsor.
Is that a motion, Barry?
It can be a motion.
I'll second that. I'll second that. And the thing is, I want us to come here to kind of debate and let's talk about what we can do. I just wanted us to have the spirit of Charlie Kirk in here. I want to hear people's opinions. I want to hear everybody's opinions because our opinions matter, our voice matters. And so I probably got ahead of myself there, Justice Brown, and I appreciate your guidance, and I think that's a great idea. We can
and we can make it happen. I mean, this community, the outpouring that I've had from my constituents, I mean, there will be plenty of private money coming in to fund whatever kind of memorial that we're able to erect as we work through the other processes.
Yes. I think that's a great idea.
So it sounds like we have a motion and a second on an amendment. Just for clarification for myself and for everybody else, let me read what I think the motion says, and then correct me if I'm wrong, Justice Brown or Justice Floyd. So I believe what they're wanting to change is in the title. It will just read a resolution proclaiming October 14th as Charlie Kirk Day of Remembrance in Garland County, and then skipping down on the fourth and fifth whereas is the one beginning October 4th, and it is fitting will be stricken. And then the resolve portion of the resolution, section 2 in its entirety will be stricken. Is that correct? Is that the motion?
Actually, I think you got your whereases off. So the October 14th shall serve as the annual. So that'll be, so the first whereas that would be stricken is, it is fitting that the Garland County Quorum Court Chambers, and then the whereas where it authorizes the county clerk to get signage, which if you read, if you read that correctly, that's actually authorizing public money to be spent on signage if you're directing the county clerk.
So excuse me, I did count wrong. The fifth and sixth whereas, is that right?
Yes, fifth and sixth, and then section 2, just to make sure you're dedicated correct.
And then we'll just, for purposes of for making the resolution, change section 3 to section 2.
Correct.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second on that.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
we speak.
Oh, cool.
Okay. My apologies. Hearing both of you, I'm not quite clear. Has the placing of the plaque and the naming of this room been removed?
That is the motion. We haven't voted on it yet.
Okay. And to one point, Mr. Justice Brown, that you made about the funding, I would lead in raising money to keep any tax dollars from paying for a plaque that went in here, make first contribution, or pay for it wholly if necessary. So
I don't want to call a vote on the amendment because I feel like the amendment is partially a big part of why some of the public may have shown up or vote on it, just not right this second. Is there any justices that like to speak before we turn it over to a little bit of public comment? I feel that's where we're at.
I would, Chairman.
Yes, Justice McGrew.
Me personally, I actually have met Charlie Kirk. I heard him speak at a conference back in December. Powerful speech. But just like everybody said, it left a lasting impression, not for my generation. I don't follow him on a daily but for a whole generation that we are bringing up. So for this, I'm wholeheartedly, and I really like Justice Brown's changes. So if you're in line with that, I'd also sign on as co-sponsor.
Thank you. With that,
just Mr. Chairman,
yes, Justice Young.
let me give one more public comment from a dignitary, Governor Newsom. Governor Gavin Newsom, the statement is the primary, most notable interaction between California Governor Gavin Newsom and conservative activist Charlie Kirk occurred on March of 2025, when Kirk appeared as the inaugural guest on Newsom's newly launched podcast. This is Gavin Newsom, the name of the podcast. The 90-minute episode was framed as a cross-ideological conversation on topics like criminal justice, homelessness, immigration, transgender athletes in sports, and the state of the Democratic Party. It quickly went viral, amassing millions of views on YouTube and sparking widespread community commentary for its concerns. Gavin Newsom invited his very first guest on his 90-minute podcast at the behest of his 12-year-old son, begged him, Dad, you have to start with Charlie Kirk. This guy makes so much sense, and it is such a great debater. And Gavin Newsom chose to have Charlie Kirk as his first guest in March of 2025. Thank you.
Justice Jones.
I I think my favorite thing about Charlie Kirk was that he wanted to hear opinions from both sides. He wanted to hear why you thought what you thought, why you believed what you believed, why you didn't agree with him, and he wanted to do what our country was founded on: debate. Debate is how we got to where we were to form our country. Just like with Justice Brown, it's like this is what we started with, so let's talk about this and let's talk about this. And I think the comment out of everything I've heard in the last couple of weeks that sticks with me so strong is that when we quit talking, that's when we lose the battle. And that's what Charlie would say. When we quit talking, we lose the battle. And there's, I think it was Thomas Jefferson who said, as a country, we die together or we die alone. And even if we don't agree on something as a whole, even our church, we did a study one time. Somebody was like, "What's the difference to this and this?" And it was like, let's look at the similarities. Let's quit looking at the differences and let's find those similarities, those common grounds, those places where we can come together as a country. Everybody in the beginning of our country did not agree, but it was amazing how when they had conversation, they could come together with something that did appreciate the good and make the other livable so that we could live together. Because we're made out of a country that God has made so many personalities and so many different amazing minds and so many ideas and hearts that when we come together, it's obvious we have formed a country that is like no other. And it's because we come together, and even if we don't agree on everything, we can agree on a lot of the core things. And then the others are preference. And we all have the right to choose our preferences. I mean, even if you chose the opposite of what I chose, that's still your right to do that. And we can talk about it. I may even understand more about what you're thinking if we talk. You may understand more about what I'm thinking. Same with everybody in here. And so I think it's a good reminder to me to honor somebody whose whole goal was to get America talking again and to honor God and to love one another, even if we don't agree. Some days I didn't like my children. I told them, I said, I love you, but I do not like you today. And we can go from there. And we'd always come to an agreement. And I think that's what I have been touched by so much in the last 2 weeks. We've watched Charlie for years, but just those simple things that will bring us together. And that's what we want to do. We want to be a county that's amazingly successful because we can work with all the personalities, all the ideas, all the thoughts, all of the dreams, and come up with something that other counties look at and go, we need to see how they did that. And not look at our county as all they do is fight and argue and they can never agree on anything. That's the county you want to move out of. Just all of us would be that way. So I see it as a great opportunity to remind us debate is not yelling and arguing with one another. Debate is giving your idea while the other person gives theirs and theirs. And then everybody has the opportunity at the end to go, okay, I agree with you, or I agree with you, or I agree some with you and some with you. So let's come together. And I just think that I would love to see something like the bench where we can say, let's go sit down and talk about this peaceably and intelligently and full of love for one another and respect, so that we can do something that makes us all proud to be part of this community.
Thank you, Justice Jones. Any other JPs before we go into public comment? Okay. We'll go in order of the list. First person who was signed up to speak before I call you up. So the microphone is very sensitive, and we have people that are watching online on YouTube via the Garland County Library YouTube page. So as you go up to speak, depending on how tall you are, your height, just adjust the microphone where it's close to your mouth, if you would. The first person who signed up to speak on our list is Abigail Gordon. If you'd please come forward. She's from District 13, and you have 3 minutes.
Hello, thank you, Justices. I just want to say again, thank you for taking the time to consider this resolution. I am for the amendment and also for the resolution, but because I am a conservative in the word itself, and I don't want to use our public funds to fund this. So thank you, Justice Brown, for bringing that to our attention. And I just wanted to say, as my public statement, this is not a political issue. It's not a matter of someone did this or someone did that, but truly, I'm hoping that on either side, if there's a day that a certain party wants to call forth a day of memorial, that we as a community and we as a people are willing to honor each other in that this isn't just a moment of we're right, you're wrong, or vice versa, but that truly this is a matter of people coming together and honoring the sanctity of life. And I know that even is a buzzword, but it's like it's human life, and it was lost. And I was heavily impacted by Charlie Kirk as a member of Garland County, and so I would love to take a stance as a county and saying that he did impact people that are my age, people older than me, people younger than me, and it's because a lot of his debate and a lot of his heartfelt study of the scripture and history and politics that I'm even willing to get up here and speak freely. So I am for this amendment. I am for this resolution, and I just thank you for taking the time to consider it and for taking the time to have a discussion with all of us. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person signed up to speak on our list is Melinda Sheenel, I believe. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You have 3 minutes.
Hi. Thank you, Justices, for giving us an opportunity to share. I love what you had to say, Justice Brown. I think that is the true spirit of compromise. I don't think anything that we're all going to come up here and I'm going to say, I didn't hear the same things you all heard, and we can debate that, but we also can say his idea is a spot-on compromise. This is a public building. It does not need any other name than the Armory, and this is where we do business here. It's paid for with taxes. Even if the nameplate is paid with private funds, it's not your building. It's everybody's building. So a bench outside, excellent idea. A place to talk, excellent idea. Our government has already said we're having a day. We don't need to make that. Our federal government has already done that. So please don't waste our dollars. Don't waste our tax dollars. We have so much good work that can be done here in this county that taking time to argue this, just listen to Justice Brown. He has an awesome idea for compromise. Let's compromise. We're honoring, we're listening. Let's create a place for conversation on a paid for bench, not with our tax dollars, and not naming a public building. So thank you for listening. I really hope that what y'all said is what you really mean and how you're going to vote, because that would be really awesome, because he's got it down. So you did quote Bill Clinton, and he did come from our city. So, and he was an elected official, and he did serve our country. So I'm just saying, if you want to go there,
quite well he was from here.
that's another debate, and you opened that door.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. The next person signed up to speak on our list is Jerry Rappan. If you please come forward, he's from District 1.
Thank each one of you who's spoken today. I think you spoke eloquently, and I know you spoke with compassion. I know you spoke with compassion for Charlie Kirk, and more importantly, as Charlie Kirk spoke with compassion for our nation, you're speaking with compassion for our community and our nation. And this can be a time to come together for all of our community, Democrats, Republicans, people that don't consider themselves either one, that are independent. but we need to reflect on the direction we've gone in this country. We've got so many things right, and yet why is this time of hatred that has developed over the last years? Sadly, my lifetime has been affected by the assassination of John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Robert Kennedy, more recently, the Speaker of the House of the state of Michigan, Democrat, who was assassinated. Sadly, there wasn't anything brought forward here about other violence around our nation. We've had burnings of governors' mansions, um, and Charlie Kirk is the latest. And wouldn't it be great if it would be the last? And we hear so many things that people say all about this. They say wonderful things, they say meaningful, heartfelt, loving things, like his widow said. Then we also hear this as a subject for division. But let the words that you bring here, the way that we handle it here, bring this concept of debate without hate. Couldn't be better than that. And Hot Springs has been a place where people come at peace, where we say the native tribes came at peace. Let's let this voice and this spirit that we have here uh, resonate within us and around our community and around our nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Sorry. The next person who signed up to speak on our list is Mildred Barham from District 5. If you please come forward.
Okay, I hope I can muster as much grace, but I think when I wrote mine, I was a little bit more agitated because I come before you today to show you the face of a radical, left, liberal scum lady. Here I am. I am scum. That's what my president called me yesterday, and I have heard him talk of revenge and hate and retribution. It feels so disingenuous to be naming a room to honor a person that capitalized on that hatred for the sake of power and wealth. Debate without hate seems so unattainable when a memorial service can be turned into a political rally full of hatred, and there was a lot. Yesterday, I witnessed on full display words and actions that make me more committed than ever to protecting the separation of church and state. A founding belief that everyone is entitled to the same freedoms, not just the people who match our own beliefs. I am not a Christian nationalist. I'm not even a Christian. I am a proud Jewish woman on my way tonight to worship and welcome our new year on this holy day of Rosh Hashanah down the street with armed guards guarding our building because we have fear to worship. I know fear. I heard people talk yesterday of faith, family, and freedom. Well, I have these things too. I have a different faith, a different family, and a belief that freedom is for all, not just for some. I heard people speaking about truth, and I have my truths too, and they are different from yours, and they are definitely different from Charlie Kirk's. From my perspective, he said so many things that were hurtful to so many people. He unequivocally displayed behavior and ideas of supremacy, white supremacy, Christian supremacy, and male supremacy. And if you choose to honor these aspects of his lucrative career at the expense of the people who have been marginalized by him and offended by him, then I cannot support your hypocritical call for a room for debate without hate. I proudly support DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I find the opposite of each of these words to be abhorrent to my beliefs, my truths. I am proud to say that I try very hard to be awake to the needs and feelings of others, and my faith does not allow me to understand how that is a negative trait. In fact, I believe it's my greatest character trait. So call me woke, call me radical left scum, but do not ask me to sit in a room to honor a person that helped give people permission to marginalize me and make me feel hatred and make me feel like I'm the enemy. Please don't act like he didn't say these things. Please don't act like he didn't hurt people just because you happen to agree with him. I know I cannot convince you to change your
Ma'am, your
minds,
time's up.
but I still feel compelled to ask you to consider the pain that this decision will cause a lot of your constituents.
The next person that is signed up to speak on our list, is Judy Dare from District 10. If you please come forward.
Hello, everybody. So, everybody's had a lot to say about debate. And what I want to talk about is unity. To tell you the truth, I'd never heard about Charlie Kirk before he was murdered. I do not believe that anyone in this country should be killed the way Charlie Kirk was. But the more I read about him, the more I understand that he was really not about unity or all. He was not about healing this nation. And I would like to bring forth some thoughts for everyone. I would wholeheartedly support a resolution that would bring the community together and not cause division. I would ask the people in this courtroom, raise some hands, who supported this resolution. There would be hands for and against. Dissension is not what we need these days, y'all. It is not. We need unity. So instead of setting aside a day for a man that not everybody agrees with his philosophy, and that Congress has already set aside a day for, I would like to give the following suggestions for a day of memorial. The Garland County Day of Peace. The Garland County First Amendment Rights Appreciation Day. The Garland County Citizens Against Gun Violence Day. Garland County Victims of Gun Violence Remembrance Day. Garland County Mental Health Awareness Day, because this young man who shot Charlie Kirk is not mentally healthy. The Garland County Free Speech Appreciation Day, and the Garland County Day of Unity. I can come up with more, but in none of these does it say Charlie Kirk. I think if we go to that, we are going to create more dissension and division. Please note, I've not used any sarcasm here. I do not come here with sarcasm in my heart. If this committee truly cares about the welfare safety of Garland County, please consider renaming the day. We don't need to have a day of violence or a day where anyone can pick apart what we're here for, and that is unity and peace and the First Amendment right to speak freely, because that's all what we're here for. We're just talking in different voices. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person who's signed up to speak is Ann Peros Quinn, I believe. If you please come forward. She's from District 1.
Hello. So I am absolutely against this. I agree with other people here. There is no place for violence, especially when it's politically motivated, religiously motivated, any violence whatsoever. I have always worked against. I believe in peace. I believe in unity. However, this man discounted who I am as a person. He's discounted my community, and that has no place here. I love Garland County. I love Hot Springs. I'm a Hot Springs nerd. He's not a political figure. He was not elected. No one put him into any office whatsoever. He made millions of dollars that had nothing to do with Hot Springs, had nothing to do with Garland County, and had everything to do with oppressing women, LGBTQ community, and people of color. That's not unity. That's the opposite of unity. All this has done is continued to create a divide when we should be coming together. But this is not the way to do it. There are so many heroes in our community that this building could be named after. We really do have heroes here who work side by side with people in need to provide hope and a place to go uh, when they need to. This doesn't do that. This again creates division. Um, how is it okay that this committee, whose job, by the way, is animal control, public health, social services, and emergency services, jurisdiction and rural development, planning, zoning, and 911, serving the county judge in advisory capacity regarding health, welfare, and safety needs, work with the county sheriff in determining law enforcement needs, work with rural fire associations to review state legislation affecting rural fire protection. That is your job. Please do that and focus on what we need in this community instead of something that's going to tear us all apart. Thank you.
All right. I think I've been very lenient on the applause. Please, no more applause. I'll let y'all do it 3 times without telling y'all not to. Please, I think we get the point when someone gets up to speak. Next person signed up to speak is Colton Jeans from District 13.
Honorable Justices of the Peace, thank you so much for giving us all the opportunity to speak here. Thank you, constituents, and everybody for coming out to use your First Amendment right to speak instead of resorting to political violence in response to everything that's been transpiring recently. I appreciate Justice Brown's amendment to this resolution. I like the idea of a day of remembrance. I like the idea of not putting public funds to this. I like the idea of it being privately funded, like Mr. or Justice Young recommended and said that he would provide. I full-heartedly support the amendment, and I thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come out here and let your voices be heard. And thank you, Justices of the Peace, for providing a space for us to come and voice our differences and hopefully push forward meaningful change in our community and provide a unity around what you've been elected, the people who you have been elected by, in order to come to a common goal. Because we're not all of your constituents are not going to agree on one specific thing. That is why we have a republic, democratic elected republic, instead of just a total democracy, because we would never get anything done and it would never be meaningful. So thank you all so much and have a great evening.
Thank you. Okay, I'm having a little trouble reading the next name. It's who signed up after Colton. It's 4 from District 13. Say your name for the record, sir, and then we go right ahead.
Absolutely. My name is Grobner from District 13. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and voicing their opinions. I greatly appreciate you all for considering this resolution. And I would like to say I am definitely for both the amendment and the resolution. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. The next person who's signed up to speak, Tom Randolph, if you'd come forward, from District 1.
Hi, all. Yes, my name is Tom Randolph. Lived here for a little over 2 years, and I will be try to be brief. I was 15 when 9/11 happened, a very fragile age for anyone when it comes to witnessing live death. And I had the surreal experience of speaking to a 15-year-old who witnessed the awful event through the unfiltered social media presence the day before. Her questions were honest and filled with worry. Why? Because she, as a person of color, she's seen a rise of social groups that have turned against people like her. Something I similarly witnessed at her age about another group of people that had a tragedy used as an opportunity to spread division. I will always answer good faith questions honestly, and I try to be supportive and real to her instead of hand waving legitimate concerns, something my upbringing in a right wing home never offered me. I say this because if you don't think division was his goal, I have some choice quotes. And instead of using his clickbait tactics of gotcha quotes, I'd rather read it directly from him. And it's something that would incur righteous anger if I were to speak it of him. And I'll reserve the name of the subject of his ire until afterwards instead. I don't care if he's dead. He's not a hero. He's a scumbag, and he shouldn't be celebrated. Those are truly angering quotes that should never be said about anyone that has a family that was unjustly murdered. And that person was George Floyd shortly afterwards, while he was in Minnesota for that matter. If you tell me that doesn't stoke division, I'll sell you the exclusive rights to the Three Sisters water. This compromise of a bench with private money is feasible, and it also goes to show that we still have better options with discussions rather than debates. We don't need to put another hat on the hat with these divisive declarations. I'd rather a conversation that has a back and forth instead of predetermined proposals disguised as debates. I think we all would. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person who's signed up to speak is Rachel Dent from District 1.
Thank you. I am against both this amendment and renaming of the building. I don't want to talk about Charlie Kirk right now. I prefer to talk about those who truly embody a true American citizen. Matthew Silverstone turned 18 on September 9th. A day later, he was critically injured in the Evergreen High School shooting. This was also the same day of his assassination. Matthew ushered numerous fellow students to safety before being shot, saving all of their lives instead of his own. He is still in the hospital and will never be the same. His future has changed forever. Matthew is a hero and also deserves to be remembered. The night that they had the vigil in front of the courthouse, we also had a vigil. We had a vigil for Matthew and the other people that were injured and felt highly of him during that incident. Another person that could be acknowledged here but is not. Melissa Hortman. She was the Minnesota State Representative who was shot in her home, in the safety of her home, multiple times, along with her husband, while defending their two children. Her children will no longer have their mother, get to ask her advice, get to eat their favorite meal that she makes for them, or share their future goals with her. There has been no vigil for her in this town. There's been no remarks of honors for her. So what's the difference between them and this man that you are trying to honor today? These two people, among hundreds that have acted heroically while being a victim of gun violence in recent months, have not received any honors. They have not received any kind remarks from any of you. Why not name this room after one of them if you have to name it by anything at all? Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate what you had to say. Next person that signed up to speak on our list is Kaya Jansen from District 13.
Hello. Thank you for letting me speak today. Thank you for everybody for coming and taking their time out of the day. So I do apologize if I'm not saying anything right. It is my first time speaking up here, and I do believe that I honestly do like what you said, building the bench and stuff. It really does honor what Charlie Kirk did. I didn't know much about him, but he built a very big foundation for young adults to voice their opinions. Really, I really respect that, especially in our in the United States. So thank you. I'm for this. I'm for the resolution, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person that signed up is Morgan Stewart, also from District 13. You don't have to speak if you don't want to, if they're not here. We'll go on. Next person, Moses Rivas.
Hello, I'm sorry. Hello, my name is Moses Rivas, and I'm for this amendment and for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, Courtney McKee, District 10.
I'm speaking today not because I expect this committee to change course, but because I believe in the power of naming and the responsibility that comes with it. For example, you're the Public Health, Welfare, and Safety Committee. Your charge is clear: to protect the well-being of Garland County residents. That includes addressing animal overpopulation, supporting emergency services, and ensuring public health, not branding courtrooms with divisive political slogans. Naming a courtroom after Charlie Kirk under the banner of debate, not hate, is not a gesture of unity. It is a provocation, it's a performance, and it's beneath the dignity of this body. If you truly want to honor someone who brought people together, consider Elmer Beard, a local educator, poet, and civil rights leader, or Bill Clinton, who governed this state and built bridges across difference, or better yet, name it after no one. Let the courtroom speak for justice, not ideology. If you want to make a real impact, I invite you to turn your attention to the animal overpopulation crisis in Garland County. Dogs and cats are suffering, shelters are overwhelmed, and your committee has the power to act. That legacy would be worth naming. I know this comment may be dismissed, but I also know that words matter, names matter, and I will not let this moment pass to say that we deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our list of people that have signed up to speak. Is there anybody else that didn't get a chance to sign up to speak that would like to? Austin Prince from District 13.
Hi, I'm Austin Prince from District 13. Was it Courtney? Is that your name? I wanted to say I agree with you. I have a lot of stray dogs in my road too, and that's not sarcasm. If we could deal with that, that would be great. But I do want to say, one, thank you to everybody that came out and spoke tonight. It's called the broken window fallacy, I think, or logic, but I would encourage everyone that is in an echo chamber on the right or the left, hearing that Charlie Kirk only ever said amazing things or only ever said evil things. If you've got the time and you want to take me up on a challenge, watch 4 hours of what he said on YouTube and watch a whole segment. It's very rare. I haven't been able to find anything he said that wasn't coming from love. He disagreed with people aggressively, and he didn't always back down. He very often stood his ground on what he believed, and that's not hatred. That's just difference in opinion. As far as this amendment goes, I agree. Thank you for protecting our use of public funds. And I agree, I don't think this building should be named after Kirk, but I do think that with the number of young people and old people, but my generation has been greatly impacted by Charlie Kirk, and I do think it would be fitting to do something to honor him. I think that's all I had. So thank y'all and appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead, sir. Speak your, just say your name and district in the microphone, if you would, please.
My name is Scott Pennington. I'm in District 13. I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for the opportunity for the community to come together and speak and voice their concerns, agreements, or disagreements. I think that's very important. I like the idea behind debate without hate. Listening to several of y'all speak, a lot of things have popped into my head, but I'm not going to say much. I will, just as a rebuttal to some of the things that people may have mischaracterized Mr. Kirk. I grew up in a very ultra right-wing religious household that absolutely shut down debate. Questions were not allowed. I recognize a pattern of not debate but bullying that pretends to allow people to speak when in fact is designed to not allow them to speak. And gotcha moments and talking points, that's not debate. That's bullying. And I think we all agree that bullying is bad. Having said that, I think I heard a couple people make the comment about if our goal is to unify and bring people together, wonderful. Debate without hate. That's great. Using the name of a man who is divisive is exactly the opposite result than what we're looking for. I think nobody in this room would disagree that we need to have a place in our society where we can disagree. But we don't start that conversation with an inflammatory term or person. That's those of you who I appreciate who said, I don't know a lot about him, listen to some of the things he said. Please. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we will conclude the public comment portion of our committee meeting today. Is there any justices of the peace that'd like to add anything since after the public?
Fortunately, I'm not going to have a whole lot. You will clarify what we're voting on. I understand we're voting on the bench and the day, but I'd like to clarify it again, please.
Yes. So what is before us? I'm going to actually ask a question to the county attorney. We have a motion on the floor for amendment, but I never got a motion for a due pass on the original resolution. Is that okay for us to vote on the amendment and then vote on sending it forward to the full quorum court? Would that be okay? Okay. I just want to make sure. Vote on. Okay. So, Justice Young, the amendment before us, striking the name of naming anything in this building or this chamber for Charlie Kirk, and is just setting October 14th for the Day of Remembrance. We're not voting on anything in regards to the bench. I think that the very wide consensus of the members of this committee and the quorum court as a whole is that we'll work, the various members or community members, whoever will work with the county judge and the county clerk and whoever else that we need to get those things established. But that is not a part of what we're voting on the amendment. Does that make sense?
Yes, simply the Day of Honor.
Yes. Okay. So, any other questions, comments? Okay, on the amendment to strike out the two whereases at the bottom, 5 and 6, I believe, or we have them established, and section 2. All those in favor of striking out that name signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The amendment passes. Now we will move to a vote. I'll entertain a motion for a due pass on the resolution as amended to the quorum court.
So moved.
Moved by Justice Brown, second by Justice Young. Any discussion on the resolution itself? Seeing none, all those in favor of sending it forward to the quorum court as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution receives a due pass to the quorum court and will be voted on October the 13th. Is there any other business before the committee? I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I think we did a very good job. We obviously had about half the people here on one side, half the people here on the other. Thank you for coming out and sharing your opinions. And with that, we're adjourned.